I love dragons. Howdy guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Makayla, and today we are doing a reading vlog for Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. If you do not know, this is the third book in the Empyrean series, and I'm just gonna be filming all of my thoughts and feelings while I'm reading it. So this is a first warning. This is going to have spoilers, so do not watch this video if you've not read all three of the books so far, because I will be talking about everything while I'm reading it. So please, this is the first spoiler warning. This video is going to look slightly different than I originally hoped, and that is just because my midnight release party at my local Barnes & Noble did get canceled due to Texas weather. It's supposed to snow and ice overnight, which Texas infrastructure cannot really handle. So they did cancel our midnight release party. And on top of that, they don't know if they're going to open on Tuesday to give out those pre-orders, because I did pre-order through my Barnes & Noble. So I was left with two options. I was either going to drive to Target Tuesday morning and try to get the Target exclusive, or I was going to order it on Kindle and just read it on Kindle until I got the physical book. And I ended up deciding I was going to buy the Kindle version because I didn't want to risk driving on the roads Tuesday morning because it's supposed to be snow and ice. So we did end up buying the Kindle version, and then that is kind of where we're going to start the book until I'm able to get my physical copy from Barnes & Noble. So this is, again, a spoiler warning. I will be talking about all of the plot points. So click off the video now if you have not read it yet, and then come back after you've finished Onyx Storm and see all my thoughts and feelings. And then we can talk about it in the comments too on what your thoughts and feelings are. But we are going to jump right into it and start reading Onyx Storm, which is my most anticipated release of the year. So let's go. Okay, so this is going to be a preemptive update because Onyx Storm has not been released yet, but I thought I'd just update you on where we're at. So Onyx Storm will be set to my Kindle at 11 p.m. because that is 12 p.m. Pacific time, but it's 11 p.m. Central time, so love time zone differences because of that. So I have about 2 hours to wait. So I'm going to continue doing my little skim through of Iron Flame, not Onyx Storm. So I've just been doing kind of like a skim through reread to make sure, like, one, just getting back in the world and seeing if I missed anything. Especially the first part, I actually ended up just like full out reading it because I was invested, but I only have 2 hours. So we're just going to skim through this last part. And I mainly want to reread like the final battle scene from Iron Flame because I feel like we're obviously going to pick up right where we left off in Onyx Storm. At least that's what I'm guessing. So I'm going to sit here, do that for 2 hours, and then when Onyx Storm gets released, we're going to binge it on the Kindle. And then that way I don't have to worry about it tomorrow. I don't have to leave my apartment because all of my classes got canceled. So we're just going to read all day. That's the plan. So we're going to sit here, read Iron Flame, and wait for Onyx Storm to get released. I'm so excited. Words cannot describe. It is 11:05 and we are officially going to start Onyx Storm. We are back for our first official reading check-in of Onyx Storm. I did start last night, but I didn't really stay up that late reading. I found myself, I was just really tired, and I didn't want to force myself to stay up and read when I was tired and risk not like fully enjoying this book. Because that is one thing I've noticed, like especially new releases that I'm super excited about, I tend to just read them really fast because I'm so excited, but then I don't just like fully enjoy them. So I put the book down, made myself go to sleep, and then woke up this morning and there was like an inch-ish of snow, which is really fun, but I can't even tell just the roads outside of my apartment. It is icy, so I'm really glad I decided to just get the Kindle version instead of banking on going to Target this morning and trying to get the Target exclusive, because I don't think I would have felt safe driving on the roads because one, Texas drivers don't know how to drive in snow or ice. Two, I don't have a lot of experience of driving in snow or ice. Three, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, 1 inch of snow, that's nothing. Texas infrastructure is not meant for snow and ice. One thing, the last time it snowed across Texas was about 5 years ago, and about half of the population was without power for like a week. So Texas infrastructure is not meant for it. We don't have salt trucks, we don't have plow trucks. Like, our infrastructure does not handle ice very well, so that is, I'm putting that out there. Now, back to Onyx Storm. Anyways, I just went on a rant for no reason. I made it to chapter 3, which on the Kindle is page 43. I don't know, I feel like we definitely jumped right in where we left off, and now we're finding out Violet is gonna go to a meeting with the king, which is kind of fun because that means we're meeting Eric's Eric? Yeah? Is that the name? I I think so. His family, which is a fun thing. I definitely expected that we were going to go more into his family at some point in this series because his family is literally the royalty. Aiden's secret is only known by like a few people, which I expected that. I didn't think they were going to tell a lot of people. He's still like shutting her out because he's scared of what he's going to do, that he's going to lose control, all of that. And in Darna, right at the beginning, dropped the bomb where she said like during the battle she was able to like alter the venom. We're just going along and we shall see. Xaden just dropped the bomb that he can sense the other venom. And yeah, so that's where I'm at, and we're gonna keep reading. At some point I'll be able to pick up my physical book from Barnes & Noble, but odds are they're probably not gonna open today. And if they do, they're probably gonna push back their opening until later in the day where it gives the sun time to come out, melt some of the ice and snow, and get the temperatures up to help melt some of the ice. So not banking on it, but I do have the Kindle version, so we are good. Made myself a coffee. I'm gonna stop yapping and we're gonna get back to reading. We still don't know Garrick's signet. That's definitely gonna come into play in one of these books. Like his signet is gonna come out and like be a major game changer, but we still don't know it. Okay, continue. About Onyx Storm that I feel like may be a little bit different is we're kind of left in the dark in the beginning, so there's obviously a little bit of like a time gap and stuff that we haven't seen that happened in between Iron Flame and the current story. Like there are certain plans that they're talking about that I don't think we've learned about, so I'm a little confused, still waiting to kind of be fully in the loop. But it seems like there's a bunch of stakes. They're trying to create a task force to go search for the 7th breed of dragon. I don't even know. We're just kind of thrown into it. So I'm gonna keep reading. Hopefully we figure out what's going on soon. And yeah, let's go back to reading. I'm on page 76, 10% the way in, and all of the quadrant that like stayed in Navarre is trying to challenge all of the flyers and all of the like people that went to Orisha. And it's getting spicy. I love it. So Fourth Wing just got sent to Samara by Colonel Atos, and I think he's working with the Venom because they just got sent to like the trap in the town where the Venom were like attacking the village, and they found out that it was pretty much a trap. And I definitely think he's working with the Venom because I think he sent them there knowing that they would go and help that town. He's working with them. He's working with them. I'm calling it. Knocked out, thought he was dead for a second, and Violet's knee is very messed up. This is too much. And why is Garrick here? Where did he come from? I have a little update for where we are at. I paused at chapter 15. What page is it? Let me look. My Kindle will turn on. Page 188, and I decided to pause reading. My Barnes & Noble said they're gonna open in like 2 hours to the public, and I can get my pre-order then. And the roads are pretty much cleared up, so I'm good to go get my physical copy after that. But update of where we're at in the story. They just put together the task force for going and searching for the 7th breed of dragon, the iridescents, or I think that's what they're called. And Xaden just like inserted himself on the team. And then Xaden also just became a professor at the university. So due to Codex, him and Violet cannot be together, which is crazy. So fun turn of events. I don't know where the story's gonna go. I feel like there's gonna be some like heartbreaking twist in this book. I just feel it coming. And I'm really scared for Xaden because he channeled again when he was like out at the outpost, and so scary. Don't know what's gonna happen in the book, but the next time I will see you, I will have the physical copy in my hand, which is really exciting. Found out Garrick's signet, he has 2, and kind of revealed that it's all of the marked ones have 2 signets, so it's not just people that bonded with like a family line, it's the marked ones have 2 signets. I think that's kind of what I picked up from that conversation. He's a distance wielder, so he can like travel long distances, which is Crazy. He also does wind, which they kind of dropped the wind part in there. Like, we already knew it, which I thought we didn't. I could have swore we didn't know any of Garrick's signets. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, but that is where we are at. A lot of stuff happening. Violet's getting closer with Dane, which kind of scares me, but we shall see. And it makes me sad that they can't be together, Xaden and Violet. Okay, I'll stop talking now. I'm outside of Barnes & Noble. It just opened like 20 minutes ago, and it's actually really busy. So I'm gonna go pick up my pre-order, but then I also want to look around and see if they have like the pins and like bookmarks and all of that stuff as well. So we're just gonna cruise around.
So when he almost falls off during
Them time. That was crazy. There were so many people in there, and pretty much every single person in line was there for Onyx Storm. So got my pre-ordered copy. So exciting. And then I also got the Writer's Quadrant bookmark because I think it's so cute. So we're gonna go home and pick up where we left off. Yes, because I finished the schoolwork that I was wanting to do before I went and like picked it up. So we have the rest of the day to read, which is amazing. I am back. I made myself a hot cocoa here. It is cooling off. We have our physical book. I am this far in right now. Like I said, I'm on chapter 15. We're just gonna sit here and read. I don't have any obligations until 6:30. I have dinner plans. So other than that, it is currently 12:55. We're gonna sit here and read and see how far I get, and I will obviously keep you updated on what I'm thinking, all of that type of stuff. I honestly don't know what's gonna happen, so we will keep going. I absolutely love Ritchie. He is so funny. He makes so many funny comments. And I got to the part where they're doing like the signet sparring, and Xaden brought in Garrick to also spar people. And Garrick and Imogen were kind of like battling back and forth. And Ritchie was like, oh God, just hook up already. And then they were like, he was like, did I say that out loud? And they were like, yeah. And someone was like, oh, he's gonna blow you right off the mat. And Ritchie was like, depending on which way that he's talking about, I might enjoy that. I love him. Ritchie is so funny. He's one of my favorite characters. Rosa's here. Book is here. Great time. Oh, I love the banter between all the, like, group. It is so fun. I am at the part where they're in Deverelli. I don't really know how to say it. Xaden and Violet just broke a table. They just got called because the king wants to keep Holden? Yeah, Holden. All these names are really hard to pronounce. But we're only this far into the book. There is so much. Like, I'm not even halfway, and so much has happened, and so much more can happen, and the rest. So I'm like, what is gonna happen in the rest of this book? If this has a sad ending, I'm gonna cry. I really want like a happy cliffhanger ending. I'm enjoying this so much. I'm literally like giggling and like laughing and smiling while I'm reading this, and that's how you know you're enjoying a book. And I'm taking it slow. I purposefully wanted to like slow down and not rush through this book just because I was so excited. And I definitely have been doing that. Like, I've been slowing down and really like thinking about what I'm reading. Holden was just caught lying to, what's his name? Cortland? And Cortland just ordered them to all die because Xaden, Violet, and Holden were all in there. That's so annoying. I had a feeling he would do something like that, though. Back for an update on Onyx Storm. I am on chapter 38, page 320. We're in Zahylina. I don't know how to say the names of like any of these places, but they just touched ground and there was magic there. which there's not supposed to be magic on any of the aisles. Tell me why. They have gone through so much. Every single aisle they go to, they've almost gotten killed. They just got out of the one, I don't remember what it was called, but they tried to poison them with like the food and stuff. And Garrick did get poisoned, but they found like the antidote in Violet's dad's journal. But they're going through so much to learn absolutely nothing. I definitely have a feeling someone's about to die. That is just my prediction, because one of our like main characters hasn't died, and I just feel like someone is going to, knowing this list. I wish we would kind of speed up this storyline, because we've been on this same storyline for a while, which honestly, like, I know this is the main part of this story, is finding a cure for Xaden, also trying to find Andarna's like family and the 7th breed of dragons. But we need to get moving. We'll see. I'm gonna keep reading. I think when I entered it in Goodreads, I think I'm 60% the way through. I'm reading it a lot slower than I thought I would. But I'm gonna sit here, continue reading, and I will keep you updated. I have a new theory on what's gonna happen at the end. I think Xaden's gonna hurt Violet in some way, like unknowingly, and he's gonna like run away. I think that's how this is gonna end. I'm calling it. I'm on page 322, because he was just talking about he could never like live with himself if he hurt her. I guarantee it. And then the next book is gonna be her trying to find him. I think that's what's gonna happen. I was right. Drager just died. He just got killed by the arrow on the gifts. Well, okay. There was a death. So many fights, so many battles already. Oh my gosh. Oh, yes. Oh, I love dragons. The last page. Oh my god, that's it. Another cliffhanger. I'm so tired of cliffhangers. What the hell? Well, my theory of Xaden running away was correct. He didn't hurt her. He married her, and then Imogen wiped her memories of it. Oh, what? That's how we leave it? Well, Xaden's too far gone. There's like no bringing him back. He like channeled, and now he's not just an initiate. He has like the veins and everything. How are we gonna come back from this? Oh my god. I need to think of, okay. I will recap in the morning. I just finished. We'll talk in the morning. I need to sleep on this. We are back for our final discussion on Onyx Storm. I'm going to talk about my thoughts, feelings, reviews, theories, everything pertaining to this book. It was a great time reading it. I read it in 2 days, and I had an amazing time. I absolutely love this book. I'm going to give it 4.5 stars overall, and I'm just going to break down. I sat on my review for a little over a day because I just wanted to fully digest like what I read. There was a lot in this book, and I feel like I'm finally at the point that I've kind of digested it enough and have a good understanding of kind of my theories and just what happened in the book. So we're just going to jump right into it. Overall, I feel like this was an amazing world building book for this 5-book series. I think some people forget this is going to be a 5-book series. We still have 2 full books left. So do not fret. I think this one was definitely just setting up a lot of the stuff that's going to come up in the rest of the series. We learned so much more about our world. So we learned more about the continents, all of the isles. We learned more about the gods, some of Violet's past, why she has silver hair. We also learned more about kind of the Venom world and where we are going with that. So I think it was just important that we learned about all of this and set it up, because it is going to come back in the rest of the series. I can almost guarantee. I'll talk more about some of my theories a little bit later on. We're just going to move more into what I thought about this book specifically and thoughts and everything. So I think my favorite part of this book was the banter and just relationship between our main characters and our core squad throughout the book, because I think it's so important that we had that, because it breaks up all of the battles and the fight scenes and the world building when we just see those relationships and just have that fun time with those characters. Especially Riddick, he carried the banter in this book and it was amazing. I think he's hands down my favorite character, which makes me very, very nervous, because Rebecca Yarros did say in an interview that someone we love is not going to make it through book 4, and I fear that it may be him. I think it's definitely going to be someone that we got a lot of time in Onyx Storm, and he was talked about a lot. So a little scared for that, but that is a future Makayla problem. I'm not going to think about it right now. We're just going to think about this book and his amazing banter and just the relationship between those characters. I think it's nice to remind yourself that these characters are 20, 21, 22. They're all very, very young. So they're still going through life together and they still have that fun banter with each other. And I think that really just was so amazing to see in this book, because like I said, it did break up a lot of that world building and just helped be able to get through the book, keep you interested and everything like that. I also thought it was really interesting. We got to see some more dynamics between other riders and their dragons. Riddick and his dragon are in a prank war, which makes so much sense for his personality, that he would have a dragon that is like that as well. And I love just being able to see more of those dynamics, because we obviously see Violet, Taryn, and Andarna's dynamic, a little bit of Sigale and Xaden's. I wish we got more of Sigale and Xaden's dynamic, but overall, we just got more of those dynamics, and I really loved being able to see that. Speaking more so about Xaden and Violet's relationship in this book, we shifted more from just a physical relationship for what we saw to their emotional relationship with each other and their absolute devotion towards each other. Some people aren't going to like the book for that aspect. There wasn't as much of their physical relationship in it, but the emotional development that we saw between the characters. One, we saw a much softer side to Xaden, which I thought was so important, because he obviously has this cold exterior. He always shuts everyone out. Whereas now he's not afraid to show that side around people that they trust, of his just love for Violet and how she's changed him. And I think that's going to come back and be very important throughout the series. But overall, just seeing the jealous side to Xaden when Halden came, and also the protective side of him killing people and wanting to protect her and be so scared on her behalf when she's in danger. And I just thought it was a great thing to see. We saw that emotional devotion in the part where they ask who is Xaden devoted to, or what is Xaden devoted to? And he said Violet first, and then Tyrandor, and then Navarre when it is worthy of it. And I just thought that was so swoon-worthy. It was amazing. Just some of the quotes of his love for her in this book was amazing. And where we left off, I think, is very important. They got married, but then Violet asked Imogen to erase her memory of stuff. And I think the part where Xaden kept mentioning how she holds this part of his soul is so important, and that she's the only thing that's able to break through and save him. That's gonna be important. I guarantee it. I'll talk more about it in a few seconds, or in a little bit when I talk about theories. But that was another one of my favorite parts of this book. Moving on to talk about some of the signets that we learned about throughout this book. Obviously, the marked ones have a second signet that was confirmed. However, I don't remember, is Salome considered a marked one? Please comment down below, because I don't remember. And if she is a marked one, wouldn't she have a second signet, which could be interesting to see. I think that would be an interesting one. But I don't remember if she's considered a marked one or not. So I'm not going to speak more about that. Next up, we found out Eric has foresight, which is a big help to our cause and our revolution, and it definitely was very important when he was saying protect the temple. I think he foresaw that Violet and Xaden were going to need it to get married and get blessed to be able to complete whatever plan that they came up with, and that was so important. And he's definitely going to be a big part in finding Xaden and being able to like hear him. I think definitely he's going to play a big role in the next 2 books, which also scares me. I feel like he might be one that could also be a contender to die next book, because I think the Venom might see that he's really important to them and might try to take him out. But overall, Eric's signet, great to see. We also found out Garrick is a distance wielder, so he can like travel long distance instantly. That's an interesting one. I thought it was interesting at the end in Imogen's chapter, we saw how tired he was, and he made some very suspicious comments. So I'll talk about that in my theories when I talk about the ending in just a second, but I think that was an interesting one to see. And then also Violet, her second signet that we saw of being a dream walker. That originally felt very underwhelming. I was like, okay, that doesn't seem very important, but I definitely think it's going to come in a bigger way than we expect. I think maybe that's how she's going to communicate with Xaden now that he's gone. And I think the Dreamwalker is definitely going to play a larger role than maybe we think, because originally I very much felt underwhelmed by that second signet. I think there's also might be a possibility that she has a third, because that second signet was supposed to be from Andarna, but she still was able to dreamwalk when Andarna broke that bond. So I think maybe there's a third signet in there. I don't know how there would be, but thrown in there somewhere. So that would be, that's kind of one of my theories, that maybe she has a third. I also think Xaden might have a third, because he, 1, has his normal shadows, and then 2, he has his marked 1 signet, which we say is intrinsic. And then also his grandfather, like familial line signet. Unless that's a lie, that people who come from a familial line get a second signet, I think he would have 3. And maybe we just haven't found out his third yet. That's also a theory that I have, but that's just going way too deep for what we're talking about right now. I'm going to go back to the very end when we get Xaden's chapter. We saw some interesting things. So he was talking about he didn't expect this person to turn Venom for him, but like they're obviously important to him. And upon first like read, I thought he was just talking about Panchak like turning Venom and being evil, but I think it has a deeper meaning than that. I think it's someone that we're close with. So I believe it's either Bodhi or Garrick. I strongly think it's Bodhi, just in the sense of the character development we got of Bodhi throughout the book. Bodhi kept saying he doesn't want to be the ruler of Tyrandor. He doesn't want to take over for Xaden, because Xaden kept mentioning, you're going to be the heir if I like turn bad, go away, whatever. And Bodhi was like, I don't want it. I want to be at your side. And he kept saying that. And then there's also instances throughout the book where Bodhi just wanted to go and be at Xaden's side at all costs. He wanted to drop out of Vizgayeth and all of this because he wanted to be with Xaden. But Xaden was like, no, you need to finish school and all of this. So I definitely think Bodhi could have turned with Xaden to be able to help him take down the Venom from the inside. I think that's kind of their overall goal right now, especially with Xaden going off. I think he has not given up on coming back, but I think he has a deeper purpose for running off. I think he definitely has a different plan. I think he saw that trying to fight it and stay on the outside was not getting them anywhere, so I definitely think he's going to try to take them down from the inside. Where he went, who knows? There's also missing dragon eggs and missing dragons and riders. At the end of the book, I think maybe Garrick took the dragon eggs to give them to the Isles to secure those relationships. That's another theory I have, but I could also see where people come from saying Garrick might be the one that turned Venom with Xaden, because in Imogen's chapter, we kept seeing like Garrick was exhausted, he was traveling all over the continent with distance wielding, that maybe trying to continue to help the cause that he channeled to get more power, because he was like utterly exhausted and like out of power. So I think there's multiple routes of people. We didn't see either of them at the end, so I think they're both really good options. I saw some people saying maybe Riddick was the person that turned. I don't necessarily think that that would be the case, just because I don't think Riddick had enough of a connection to Xaden, because Xaden also talked about, they saw me struggle for the last 5 months, which I thought that meant that it was the full 5 months of right after the war. So it had to have been someone that was in the know from the get-go when Xaden turned, and Bodhi didn't find out until like right towards the end, like halfway through the book. So I don't think it's gonna be Riddick, but I definitely think it's either Bodhi or Garrick that turned with him. That's my theory for that. And then I also thought it was very interesting in Xaden's chapter, we see Xaden let Sigale in a little bit more. And I think Sigale saw that the piece that is holding on to Xaden's soul is Violet. And this is going into my theory, for like overarching theory that I have for this story. And this is kind of like my most like well balanced one that I think and could be the most plausible, is that when they got legally binded, blessed by the priestess to get married, that Violet is now holding on to that piece of Xaden's soul. And Xaden, now that Violet has that and is protecting it, went off and he's gonna like fully devote and figure out his stuff from the inside, where Violet is still holding on to that piece of Xaden. And then Violet's gonna be able to take that piece of Xaden and maybe go to one of the gods. I think either Malik or Dune, because they're both wanting Violet. And we kept mentioning that Violet is like wanted by 2 different gods. And I think she might go to one of them to save Xaden and like repair his soul and all of that. I think there's a lot like deeper aspects that I could go into talking about that theory, but I'm kind of tired, so I'm not going to go that deep. But I definitely think Sigale was able to see that there is a chance that Violet can save him, and that's why she agreed to go, which also is very interesting because at the end, Taryn is in this like deep sleep. And I was like, why would he be in that deep sleep? And I think maybe that Sigale broke the mating bond between them. I don't know if that's possible, like breaking a mating bond, but I was also, how would their mating bond survive Sigale going away with Xaden? So I think there had to have been something in there of them breaking that bond or like severing it, because I don't know why Taryn would be in a deep sleep otherwise unless he went through like something traumatic. So I definitely think there's more to that relationship in there. And I definitely think Sigale was able to see what Xaden was planning when he let her in. And maybe that's why she agreed to go. So there's a lot of things that we can go. I definitely think the gods are going to play more of a role. We learned so much more about them in this book that they're definitely going to come back and play a huge role within the next few books. Also, I think that part of his soul that Violet holds is also very important, because when he was like deeply channeling and like losing himself completely, there was that thread of Violet saying I love you that he was like holding on to and grasping onto, that I think that is like the one thing that's going to be able to pull him out. So those are just theories that I have. I think there's a lot of ways that we can go. I think Violet's dad, he obviously definitely knew a lot more than everyone thought, and he had a different like idea, because he took Violet to Dune to get dedicated, but they didn't complete the dedication, and I guess he went against his mom, like Violet's mom's like will. I don't know. There was a lot deeper stuff in there. I think there's so much that we don't know, so much that we could go and work off of that was thrown into this book, that I think the next 2 books are going to be, quite frankly, really amazing. I think we're going to shift more towards seeing more of the god side, more of that aspect of the story, maybe not as much battles as we saw in this book, especially now that the Venin kind of have Xaden. I think we're going to see more of them trying to figure stuff out and not as much of them like battling the Venin in the next book, at least in the next book, is my kind of guess. But obviously, I could be very wrong. I could be completely wrong. There's so much left in this book. But overall, I think it was beautiful in the amount of world building that we did. We set up, the story for the rest of the remaining 2 books. We do have to wait a little bit longer. I think she said she's taking a little bit of a longer break between this book and the next book. So we're probably going to have to wait like 2-ish years for it. And that's obviously really sad. But also at the same time, I think she deserves a break. This level of story, I think people don't realize it's not usual for authors to like put out books this fast unless they have kind of like them pre-written. In traditional literature and like throughout history, books have never been like put out like this fast. Obviously, like with Book Talk and BookTube and everything like that, like publishing industry is changing and it's becoming a lot quicker of a process, but people need to be patient. Writers are doing their best, and it can be stressful, especially you write something, you obviously get the love for it, you get the hate for it, and just let them do their work. They are amazing. Don't judge them if they take longer. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride, because that is all you can do. But I hope you guys enjoyed this Onyx Storm reading vlog. I've been yapping for a long time talking about this book. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!